What is up, mental patients? My name is Tormental, and I am reading a creepypasta on my channel. What? Why? Well, because I'm going to be blaming gamers. I'm going to be... it's already ruined. Don't worry about it. It's going to be ruined several times over, so we're just going to keep rolling. I'm reading gaming creepypastas. I don't know why. I just felt like it. I probably will do one video and then never do it again. So yeah, try saying that 5 times fast. Reading gaming creepypastas. Okay. This is the cell phone game, and we'll look up who the author is at the end of the video by viewing the history, because that usually, unless it's written at the bottom, we'll see. The cell phone game. Howdy. You can call me Jack. I guess the author's name is Jack. It's not my real name. Oh, fuck me then. But that's what I'll go by for now. I reckon the time to tell my story has come. Believe it or don't, but here it is. I personally would have gone believe it or not, here it is, but, you know. Anyway, I suggest you take away the lessons it teaches, even if you dismiss it all as bullshit, like 98% of the other stories on the internet. 98% of people can't tell if this story is bullshit or not. Can you? Comment below. But there's more truth in this story than any one of you could know. Now, I've been out of high school for 3 years, but that's when this particular event takes place, so I'm going to have to wind my clock back a little here to tell the story. Alright, not really necessary to tell us, you know, this happened in high school, and I'm out of high school, so basically in this story, I'm going to have to go back to high school. I mean, you know, you could have just said, back when I was in high school, you know, that would be it. I don't know, just nitpicking. Originally, for my first 2.5 years of school, I attended a school in the deep southern part of America, close to the Gulf. Okay. We had all kinds of ghost stories growing up, and if there was one lesson our super conservative parents taught us, it was this. Don't go fooling around in things you don't understand. I mean, you don't have to be super conservative to tell your kids that. I don't know. Now, I was really unpopular at my high school in the South. Well, see, here's the thing, and I don't want to interrupt the story too much, but, you know, as you can tell, this is sort of a riffing on creepypasta kind of thing. It's not a direct reading, it's not really a 100% legit review, it's more like a, I don't know, like a react video? Oh god, no, but yeah. Here's the thing, anybody who moves to the South, who's not from the South, is going to be unpopular. At least that's my experience. I mean, you know, unless you're moving to an area that already has a bunch of transplants, you know, people are going to be like, you dog funny, what the hell are you talking about, boy? Anyway, my first 2 years of high school were a real pain because I was a big dork and everyone made fun of me. I was a loner, and all I really did in class was play my Game Boy all day before rushing home to play an MMO I was addicted to. I would have just named the MMO, but maybe that's coming up in the story? I don't know. But yeah. All of that changed during my junior year, when my mother's job moved us out west. My mother, you see, was an old-timey prospector. She just woke me up one day, she was shaking me awake out of bed, and she was like, there's gold in them dar hills. We gotta go out west. But yeah. I could do a less shitty prospector voice, but it's way louder, and I'd blow out the microphone. And it involves just screaming gold over and over again. Anyway, I started to attend a little Catholic school with no more than around 250 students. It was at this time that I finally started to fit in and make friends. It was at Catholic school that I started fitting in my friends. No one out here knew much of how... Wait. No one out here knew how much of a dork I was, so I opted to hide my power level, as they tend to say on a nice 4chan reference. Okay, you could probably audibly hear the facepalm in this video. I actually my palm was at my face, and try to make friends for once in my life. Who knows? Maybe I could even get a cute girlfriend if I was careful. In my experience, okay, love advice from Tormental, the guru of relationships, as evidenced by his many hours of video gaming on his channel. Being careful doesn't usually get you a girlfriend. Like, if you're, like, really super careful and super, like, I don't know if she's really into me. I don't know if she's really into me. I gotta, just scope it out. I gotta wait a while. That, my friend, makes you into a stalker. At least in appearance, because you're just kind of around the corner looking at her. You have to be a little bit reckless. You have to take a chance. You have to just say, "Hey, you like me? I like you." If you're, I don't know what that's like early childhood. Do you like me? I like you. But you get the idea. I mean, you're not going to get a girlfriend by being careful. Quote 2016 Tormental. Put it on a t-shirt, sell it, and blame me for all the smoldering wreckage on the highway. I started to meet people at the school. At a school that small, you ended up knowing everyone in your class. Yeah. My first day I made a new friend named Sam, and at lunch I opted to sit with him and his friends. He told me all about the other kids at the school, who was most popular, who the jocks were, so on and so forth. Surprise! The popular ones were mostly the jocks. Anybody out there getting triggered yet? I don't know. He introduced me to his friends, too. Jim, a big, jovial fellow who tipped the scales at 300 pounds. Jesus! 300 pounds in high school? I'm like well out of high school, and I'm not even 300 pounds, and I make videos on YouTube of gaming. Vogelman, our table's resident computer nerd and hacker, and Thomas, a musician who played electric guitar. I feel like I'm reading an 80s movie right now. A coming of age drama. Vogelman, you nerdy hacker, you. Can you hack us up some babes for the party? Yeah, sure. I also met Stephanie, the school's resident spunky Asian girl. By the way, do not look up spunkyasiangirl.com. Do not look that up. I don't know what it is, but it can't be good. Some of the guys said she could be a bitch, but she seemed cool enough. She was into gaming and never messed with any of us. Oh, okay. I see. She was the one girl in our school who was a gamer, so naturally we were drawn to her. She even seemed to think I was funny, so maybe that's why she started to call me at home after school on some days. Oh, seal the deal. Seal the deal, Faf Noodle, or whatever your name is. I can't remember. Sam told me all kinds of stories about her, like how she used to make snacks for guys at school, but then sprinkle Viagra all over them and pour laxatives into them, so that anyone who ate it would suffer the brunt of her painful and arguably cruel joke. This is an 80s coming-of-age movie. Okay, I don't want to know where a teenaged girl in Catholic school is getting Viagra. I mean, you could just say from her parents', medicine cabinet, like she's stealing it, but anyway, I just chuckled to myself and politely refused whenever she offered me anything. Ha ha ha. Oh God. Then there was Rottenbacker. His real name was Jason, but everyone always called him Rottenbacker or the Kraut because he was a hardcore Nazi. He was an outcast and a loner. No one wanted to be associated with him. I wonder why. Every day he'd wear a red swastika armband to school just beneath his jacket where the teachers couldn't see. But whenever he'd get hot and slip it off, or whenever he was changing in the locker room, he'd be wearing the Nazi armband. No, he fucking didn't. Oh, Jesus. Okay. I went to school in the South. I was the kid who wasn't Southern in that school. I did see my fair share of swastikas, but it was always like graffiti on desks. Like graffiti in the, bathroom or whatever like that. If anybody ever wore anything like that, they would have been so fucked. And I don't just mean by the teachers, because here's the thing. In a Southern school, the racial diversity, is not what you would expect. You probably would expect it to be like all white kids at the school, but no, that's far from the truth. You mostly get that, in northern or, wealthier areas where it's like, we have our own little community bubble when we don't let anybody in who's different. You get that bullshit. But in the school I went to down here, if you ever were seen wearing a fucking swastika, I hasten to say, or I don't know, that's probably not the right term. I sort of would guess that you probably would go missing. I mean, just my guess. I don't know. Furthermore, I mean, here's the thing. When I went to school, when I moved down to the South when I was like 14 and went to high school here, I was like, the person who was the transplant, the different person. And I liked to play basketball. And at my school, the white kids didn't play basketball. So I would go out and play basketball with, black, Latino, I guess that was everybody at the school. And, I got in trouble for that. Like, I got put in a chokehold, and I got, my stuff thrown in the trash and, shit like that, because I was associating with, ethnic students. If that's, the right term anymore, I don't fucking know. And, it was like a two-way street, too. Because when I would play basketball, I would get, like, the ball thrown at my head. And I would get, different things like that, where I would be attacked for being the white guy on the court. So it's like, I kind of feel like if you were going around school wearing a Nazi swastika in the South, I kind of feel like there would be a problem one way or another, if you know what I'm saying. Like, even if the teachers were like, we don't care, we's actually secret Nazis, you still would probably be getting the shit beaten out of you on the regular. I'm just saying. So this sort of diverged into a tangent that probably nobody's interested in. Alright. Furthermore, on Halloween and on school costume event days, when he knew he could get away with it, Rottenbacher always wore an entire replica of an SS uniform like the Gestapo wear, with the black hat and the long boots. No, he fucking didn't! No, he fucking didn't! Oh my god. First of all, how many of you have Halloween and costume events at your high school where people dress up still? I don't know. But anyway. He was a mean and angsty son of a bitch. Whenever anyone told a teacher about him or asked him about the Nazi stuff, he'd shout racial or ethnic slurs at them, cuss them out, and yell Heil Hitler. No, he fucking didn't! I mean, this is... okay. I get that this is a fictional story. This is a creepypasta. This is short horror fiction, but my disbelief is completely unsuspended because I'm like, no, baby boy. Plus, wait a minute, this is a fucking Catholic school. I just remembered, this is a fucking Catholic school. Comments below about what Hitler's religious beliefs were. Let's have that discussion. Alright. Furthermore, one peculiar thing that caught my eye was that I couldn't help but notice that Rottenbacher always walked with a slight limp, like he was in pain. Probably from all the goose-stepping late at night, I don't know. Sam told me that somebody once saw him tightening a barbed silis? I don't know. Here's where my ignorance comes into play. C-I-L-I-C-E. Tightening a barbed soliloquy in the locker room like the ones the Catholic priests wear to punish themselves for their sins. It was a Catholic school, so I, like most people, just assumed at the time that maybe he wore the soliloquy because he was a devout Christian. It was kind of strange for a hardcore Hitler lover like Rottenbacher, but it was high school and none of us preferred to think too much about stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, there's this kid named Rottenbacher, and he's a Nazi. He shouts Heil Hitler at the teachers and calls them ethnic slurs, and wears a swastika on his arm and dresses as a Nazi repeatedly for Halloween and costume events. But, it's high school. None of us really want to think about it. After he got done introducing me to everyone, Sam told me of the school's old stories, including an urban legend that circulated about Kaylee, a girl that died mysteriously after playing some sort of cell phone game. Bum, bum, bum. Our game element is finally introduced. Sure enough, he could point out the girl in the yearbook to me, and everyone recalled that the police had declared her missing under mysterious circumstances. She was presumed dead almost immediately thereafter. Lazy-ass cops. Okay. I actually, that isn't something where I have to suspend disbelief, because cops can be pretty lazy, especially around where I am, because there was a woman who was murdered here a while back, and she went missing, not in that order, and they found her skeleton in the woods. Real story. I'm sorry for getting so dark on you guys, but this is a creepypasta video, so you should expect it. But yeah, very dark. And the woman's family went out to the woods like a couple months later to place like a wreath or something in memory of her. And her bones were still out there in the woods. The police didn't even pick them up. This is a real story you can actually look up. So I believe that police can be fucking lazy and just say, there's a girl missing. Well, she's probably dead. Whatever. Immediately thereafter. I don't know. If you asked anyone else, or if you... learn to read, you fuckface. If you asked anyone exactly what happened, no one could tell you a damn thing. They always just said it was because she played the cell phone game. Sam. Stephanie, the cute, mischievous Asian. Rottenbacher, the self-torturing Nazi. The cell phone game. The police's... What is with all these sentences? The police's investigation of a teen's disappearance. All of these people and events were about to come together to drag me into something in which I wanted no part. I wouldn't even be... Wait. It wouldn't even be until over 2 years later that I finally understood how and why everything went down just the way it did. Bit of front-loading. Okay. Not necessarily bad to front-load, all the time, but I wonder if you're going to deliver on it. Take a nice drink. You're going to hear me drinking because, I'm reading. I'm constantly talking. It's not like a video game video where I'm like, a little bit of gameplay, a little bit of talk. A little bit of gameplay, a little bit of talk. And the video, collect the money. Anyway, the last half... That's actually in the story, the word anyway. Anyway, the last half of junior year came and went, and the long summer passed us all by in what seemed like a heartbeat. It was finally time to begin our last year of high school. I'm still a bit concerned that the neo-Nazi has made it through 4 years of school without being kicked out, but that's just me. Everyone was back for the new school year, pumped to start the laziest and most fun year of our high school lives. Even Rottenbacher. I guess I should, when I say his name, should I be like, Rottenbacher? I don't know. Still limping around the school in that barbed... Still spouting his Nazi garbage every time someone decided to mess with him. I like how that phrase is. I like that phrase. When people messed with him, he started spouting Nazi gibberish. Not that, he's not messing with anybody else. It's just like he's just trying to live his life, man. It's hard out there for a Nazi. The year started out eerily quiet. Word was that 2 more cell phone game-related disappearances had happened over the summer, to one boy and one girl from another high school, and that the police were investigating a possible serial killer. Are you sure it's not a cellular killer? I don't know. According to the paper, the only common link the police had found was that every person who disappeared had received a text message that read, "Welcome to the game." None of the text messages had been sent from the same cell phone, so this evidence had been dismissed as circumstantial. All the victims of the cell phone game murders had the same message on their cell phones, but we're pretty sure it's circumstantial. Southern police, you never know. For me, things weren't half bad. It was this year when I finally started to open up more on a person, as a person. I had made a good circle of friends who I trusted, one of them a Nazi, and I felt more calm about being myself at this point. Gradually, I started to fit in more and more, and pretty soon I was pretty popular in certain circles. I started to fit in more and more, and pretty soon I was pretty popular in certain circles. Stephanie liked to hang around with me more and more because of how funny she thought my jokes were. See, here's the thing. When he's talking about the spunky Asian chick, I can't help but picture like the cliched 80s, 90s, movie character where she's just like, "Oh my god, you're so funny." I don't know. the immersion is ruined for me, but by my own brain. Before long, one day, which I still remember as one of the happiest days of my life, she came to me in the middle of campus after school and looked up at me with this beautiful... She came to me... Okay. we have to give this the reading that it's due. She came to me in the middle of campus after school and looked up at me with this beautiful Asian eyes and that long black hair and a smile to die for. Oh, God. I know we're all longing for the day that a girl will walk up to us with this beautiful Asian eyes. She asked me right then, Senpai, have you... No. Jack, will you go out with me? That's the guy's name, Jack. Okay. I laughed. I ran. I jumped for joy. Of course I will, I said. Okay, you ran before answering her? Of course I will, I said, and danced around with her there in front of everyone. I finally had a girlfriend. Achievement unlocked. I still remember that as one of the happiest days of my entire life, if not the happiest. We went on dates. We hung out after school. And she even started to eat lunch with Sam, Jim, Vogelman, and I every day. I forgot about Vogelman. Vogelman? Vogelman, there's a neo-Nazi walking around the campus. You might want to watch it, Tookus. Maybe I would... Don't worry, I can hack him. But yeah. Maybe I wouldn't have been so happy had I known what was going to happen next. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The creepy turn is coming. It was one day at lunch when she was sitting with us, when she mentioned that while sleeping over with her friends one night, they had stayed up late with some girls from another high school talking about the cell phone game. She said that these girls knew all about the rules of the game, and that they had explained it all to her in great detail. Fucking website. Supposedly, you can join the game at any time by sending a text message at midnight to the right phone number. The text message was supposed to say, I wish for the power to curse. Hey, if you want the power to curse, I can teach you. 'Cause motherfucker, I do that shit all fucking day. Also, bitches. If you did it right, you would get a message in return that said, Welcome to the game. And, supposedly, this was the reason that they had given for why the police found that message on the phones of everyone that had disappeared. Like we couldn't have put that together ourselves. But let's move on. I gotta take a drink. Alright, entertain yourselves. Damn. Holy shit. Stephanie went on to talk about the game. We all listened attentively to what she was saying. She told us that once someone was in the game, they were in danger. Well, why fucking play? Why fucking play? I purposefully lead a life avoiding danger to a certain extent. Like, I mean, yeah, I'll mix it up. I'll get, balls deep in some danger now and again, but mostly I'm like, would you like to stick your dick in a beehive? No, I wouldn't, because I avoid danger. If somebody presented it to me as a game, like, who wants to play Honey Dick? I would be like, no, thank you, that's not the game for me, because it entails danger. Alright, back to the story. Within 2 weeks, they had to complete one of a number of different tasks, or else they would be dragged away in the night. I stopped her right there. Dragged away? By what? To where? She got silent for a moment. I don't know, she whispered before continuing her story. Oh, she whispered it. I don't know. She said that in order to protect oneself from being dragged away, you could do one of two following things. The first was to find a special protective item. The item could be anything. You never knew what it was going to be, but it seemed that whatever the item was, it would make the bearer suffer in some way. This was considered a small price to pay in return for protection for as long as you wore the item. Okay, so is this why Rottenbacher is wearing the rotten leg thing? Is that why he has his Bacher wrapped up? The second way was to bring someone else into the game. This could be done by, okay, now we're in the ring. Okay, so this is Ringo. Okay. The second way was to bring someone else into the game. This could be done by sending the text message, welcome to the game, welcome to the game, to someone else's phone. If someone received the text message from someone else who was in the game, then that meant that this person was now in the game too, and subject to all of the same rules and consequences of the game. That's not fair. If the person didn't find a protective item themselves, or bring another person into the game, then they too would be dragged away. Okay. The catch about the second was this. While the protective item, the rules, a little too much rule book to this creepypasta. A little too much to learn. A little too many guidelines. Not really a rules kind of guy. I'm the kind of guy who loves, sticking his dick in beehives. No, wait, I just said I was against that. The catch about the second was this. While the protective item, if found, could protect you indefinitely so long as you kept it with you, bringing someone else into the game would only buy you a temporary grace period. The first time you brought someone into the game, you'd get a 2-week extension. It's not a horrifying, psychologically traumatic creepypasta. Unless you can work in, bylaws and legalese, you'd get a 2-week extension. Then, only 1 week. Eventually, the grace period would get shorter and shorter until you barely bought yourself any time at all by bringing someone else into the game. By that time, you needed to have found your protective item. So here's the thing. If I write the text, welcome to the game, and I send it to 100 people on my contact list all at once, does that buy me 100 2-week periods, or does it gradually get less as you go through the 100? Something to think about. Or not, actually. Even though I'd always been something of an X-file, I didn't like hearing her talk about this stuff, so I told her it was a bunch of nonsense. You really think so? She asked. If it's true, it would explain what the police found, and imagine how cool that would be to be able to curse anyone who messed with you by bringing them into the game. You could get rid of anyone, and no one would ever know. Damn, girl! Damn, there's some malevolence behind this Asian eyes. It was an edge in her voice I'd never heard before from Stephanie. She almost sounded intoxicated at the thought of it. Truth be told, it scared me a little. How long is this fucking story? Oh my god. Oh my god, what did I get into? Oh my god. Don't go talking like that, I told her, and I gave her a slap for good measure. No, that's not in the story. Don't go talking like that, I told her. Stuff like that's beyond people like you and me. We shouldn't go messing with stuff like that. What if you got involved in it and then it all turned out to be true? What would I do if something happened to you? Promise me you won't go messing around in that stuff. She gave me a funny look. I never thought you would be the kind of person to be scared of silly things like this, Jack. Well, I don't think it's right to mess around in stuff you don't understand, you know? I gave her a concerned look. Now, promise me, Steph. Promise me you won't go try it. She sighed in annoyance. Fine, fine. I won't play the scary cell phone game. Are you happy now? What a bitch. What a bitch, am I right? I told her I was, but truth be told, I was scared. I didn't believe her. In all the time I'd known her, Okay, you don't believe her when she says that she won't play the game, but you believe the fact that the game curses and kills people. Okay, a little bit of a mix-up of priorities. In all the time I'd known her, I'd never seen her betray anyone or sleep around or anything. Okay. But she had always been a trickster and a liar, and would lie to anyone about anything if it got her ahead without hurting anyone else. You've never seen her betray anyone, but she would lie about anything. Okay. But, to be honest, I always thought it was kind of cute and just accepted it as one of her quirks. But this time, it was serious. God. I don't know. I don't even have anything to say to that. It writes itself. You insert witty comment here. So, a few days later, when she came back and told us that she had joined the cell phone game, I was pissed. What are you thinking, Stephanie? You promised me you wouldn't do that. Yeah, I know. But it's not any big deal. I've already got it all planned out. Besides, if it's true and it works, it's too good of an opportunity to pass up. She held up her cell phone. Look, she said giddily. A text message was open on the screen, which read, Welcome to the game. Oh, I'm sorry. Welcome to the game. Kind of freaky, huh? I got it just after I sent the text at midnight, just like the girl said. My jaw dropped. I was speechless and scared stiff. This game couldn't be for real, could it? Stephanie, if this is real, then you're in danger now. You've only got 2 weeks to find the protective item. This story sounds like a game. Find the protective item to prevent the cell phone from dragging you away. I know. That's why I sent the text to Rebecca. I'm going to find out if it's true or not. I hit the roof. You did what? But Stephanie, if this is real, then that makes you as good as a murderer. You cursed Rebecca, and now she could die because of you. Relax, Jack. I don't actually believe any of this stuff. But even if I did, Rebecca's always been a big-time bitch. It's not like she doesn't have it coming anyway. She giggled that same mischievous giggle of hers that I'd always loved. But this time, I wasn't loving any part of it. Dude's going hardcore. Dude's about to slap a hoe. I'm just saying. I'm just guessing. My prediction for the story is that it ends when he slaps her. A real internet horror story. A couple of weeks passed and nothing happened. But then, one day, Rebecca didn't show up at school. At lunchtime, Stephanie was sitting around with us as usual when the assistant principal came to talk to us, all with a megaphone. A megaphone? Jesus Christ. Alright, well, megaphone, here we go. Let's see if we can simulate a megaphone. I don't know. We'll try. May I have your attention, please? Everyone got silent. The police have reported that one of your fellow students, Rebecca, has gone missing. Which Rebecca? We don't fucking know, because the principal didn't tell us which one. Just all the Rebeccas. We got no more Rebeccas in this school. The school's fresh out of Rebeccas. If you came here for a Rebecca, you're out of luck, buddy. Go to the Catholic school down the street, because we just sold our last Rebecca. Actually, we lost her to a cell phone game, but the point being, we got no more Rebeccas in stock. There's no Rebeccas here anymore. You ask me who's Rebecca, I'm going to be like, I don't know, because I ain't got no Rebeccas here. Stephanie's golden skin turned white. Stephanie's golden skin turned white. Rottenbacher was very happy. No, she froze. Her parents are... Oh, wait. Sorry. Megaphone time. Her parents are very worried about her. If any of you know anything about this, please come and talk to me after school. That is all. I don't know why you had a megaphone. Couldn't they have used the PA system in the school? Stephanie, I whispered. Oh, I'm sorry. Stephanie, I whispered. I was very afraid for her. I was very afraid for what she might do. She looked at me and said, Don't say anything. Just don't. She got up and bolted from the lunchroom. I chased after her. We were running around at the speed of sound. Stephanie! Stephanie, what are you doing? She kept jogging away from me, her cell phone out. Don't try to stop me, Jack. If I'm going to survive, I'm going to need more time. If I can get another week... Wait, I can get another week if I curse someone else, and that'll give me 3 weeks to find it. Hey, that's actually sound logic. I mean, for the first time ever. Stephanie, listen to yourself. Who are you going to curse? You'd kill someone else for a little extra time? Look what's happened to you. Keep in mind, this is all going on while they're running through the halls. She was starting to cry. Luckily, the janitor put down the wet floor sign. No. I know, damn it. But I know who I'm going to curse. No one's going to miss them, I promise. Stephanie, that's not right. You can't do it. No one deserves this. Let me help you. We can find a protective object for you together. Okay, how do you find the protective object? Because there's, no information to go on. It's just can any object be the object? Could I make, oh, this, my hack. My hack. is my protective object. I got it with me at all times. I don't know. She turned and showed me her cell phone. Her text outbox had a message which read, "Welcome to the game." She had sent it to Rottenbacker. I started to weep. I grabbed onto her as tightly as I could. Stephanie, Stephanie, I love you. I'm so sorry. This isn't right. None of this is right. Okay. Okay, so Rottenbacher was your second choice to kill? Seriously? I mean, you know, just saying, would have been my number one. She held onto me and began to cry deeply as well. We held each other there for nearly an hour like that, with students walking by us and wondering what the fuck was going on. No, that's not in the story. For an hour like that. I still remember it like it was yesterday. Then, that night, before we went home, we both resolved we would start looking for a protective item the next day. The next day, I was walking with Stephanie along the track after school when Rottenbacker approached us with his cell phone. He was furious. He held it up to her face. What kind of voice am I going to give Rottenbacker?
Is this your idea of a joke, you stupid slant-eyed bitch?
Okay. Okay, actual racism. Truth be told, I felt Rottenbacker had the right to be a little angry. Truth be told, I was on Rottenbacker's side at this point. Jesus Christ, Jack. Sure, he was a Nazi pervert freak. Pervert? I don't remember him being a pervert. Okay. Sure, he was a Nazi pervert freak, but with all of the whispers of murder going around, I could imagine anyone being angry about getting a text like that. How has he not gotten this message already? You know, you would think the neo-Nazi on campus would be the number one person that everybody would send it to, you know, when they got involved in the game. Anyway. But even so, I wasn't about to let anyone talk to my girl that way. Hey, buddy, you watch your mouth. That's no way to talk to a lady. Fedora tipping intensifies. Lady? Oh, wait.
Lady?
Rottenbacker shouted.
This fucking slut is not a lady. She's just a bitch.
Oh, damn.
And she tried to kill me. I bet you killed that other girl too, didn't you? Rebecca? She's missing because of you, isn't she?
Why would he just assume that Rebecca is the only one she killed when other people are missing from the game? I don't know. Stephanie began to cry again. I pulled my arm back and punched as hard as I could at Rottenbacker's face. Okay, I mean, he wasn't saying anything. I mean, you know, now is the point where you're against him, is when he's just saying that she tried to kill him? I mean, she did. He stumbled backwards a few steps and grabbed at his lip, from which trickled a little stream of blood, but he kept his composure. I halfway expected him to swing back at me, but he just stood there. After a moment, he spoke. Oh my god, how many lines does this guy have?
You just don't get it, do you, Stephanie? I'm already in the game. I always have been. I know the fucking score. But unlike you, I never cursed anyone else.
So yeah, he was wearing that thing around his leg because he was in the game. Bullshit, I said. If all that's true, then how are you still? Suddenly, I remembered the Silas? C-I-L-I-C-E. What is that fucking word? I could stop and look it up, but fuck it. Rottenbacker wore around his leg that caused him to limp in agony, and what Stephanie had told me at lunch. Whenever a new protective item was discovered, whatever it was, it would cause its bearer to suffer. Your protective item! You have one! Stephanie's eyes lit up. It was clear that... Wait a minute. Stephanie's eyes lit up. It was clear that had realized the same thing that I had. Okay. It's not just me. That's how it's written. Rottenbacker smirked.
That's right. So I just figured your girlfriend better know that she didn't get any additional time for trying to curse me. I've already been there and done that.
Stephanie looked up at him with fear in her eyes. In her Asian eyes? Just, you know, why would you drop it now? Before you were all hot and bothered and crazy about the specific ethnicity of her eyes, buddy. I'm just saying. Oops, I hit the wrong fucking button. All right, while I go back to my point in the story, let's hear some elevator music. Glavin, boobity boop boop booperson. What the fuck? God, this is so long. Holy shit. All right. Stephanie looked up at him with fear in her eyes. Days passed, and try as me white. Try as me white, the Rottenbecker story. Try as we might, Stephanie and I couldn't find anything that could qualify as a protective item. We were approaching the 2-week deadline, and she was looking more and more scared by the day. Her hair was a mess. Her usually bubbly personality was glum and distraught. She stared off into space during classes and prayed constantly. Well, you are in a Catholic school. I mean, if she wasn't praying in Catholic school, that would be odd. After the 2-week deadline passed, we were both terrified. She came to me at school and said, Jack... Strap yourself in for this one, guys. She came to me at school and said, Jack, I want you to sleep with me tonight. Stay with me all night. Don't let it get me. I couldn't refuse. I showed up at her house late that night and came in through the window. We slept together. It was bittersweet. She was okay. I mean, I was awesome, but she was just laying there. Oh, wait. Fuck, she was already dead. No. Making the story darker than it is. She went to sleep holding me, but as I lay awake most of the night watching and waiting until I finally fell asleep. She went to sleep holding me, but I lay awake most of the night, watching and waiting until I finally fell asleep around 4:30 in the morning from sheer exhaustion. The next day when I woke up, all I could think was, Stephanie! I looked around frantically. She wasn't in the bed next to me. Stephanie! I said louder. Well, you didn't say it the first time you thought it. I said louder as I climbed out of bed and began to search for her. I walked into her kitchen. Don't be so loud, a voice said. It was Stephanie's. I turned around to see her sitting at a round table in the kitchen. She was smiling and seemed as giddy as ever. I breathed a sigh of relief. My parents have already gone to work, but I don't want the neighbors to get suspicious and say something. I wept with relief. It was over and she was safe. Nothing had come for her. I ran across the kitchen floor. I don't know why I picture like a toddler in footy pajamas when he says that. I ran across the kitchen floor and hugged her and kissed her all over. Everything was perfect. For 2 weeks. Then I came to school one day and 9 of our classmates had disappeared, including Sam. Bye, Sam! Bye, character we never really got to know. See you later, you apparently have disappeared now. Everyone was in an uproar. No one knew what had happened to them or where they had gone. No one except for me and the one person who had done it, Stephanie. If the amount of time extended was halved each time you brought someone into the game, then 9 people would have brought her just over 2 weeks, which meant that her time would be running out again tonight. Boy, that was quick. We got through the 2 weeks, and then immediately you got 2 weeks again, and immediately it's ending tonight again. I confronted her about it after school. Stephanie, the police are getting suspicious. You can't do this anymore, and I can't watch you do this anymore. It's wrong. It's evil. She looked at me silently. I still remember the look in her eyes that day. Her Asian eyes. Why? If you're gonna say that, if you're gonna make that remark, if you're gonna be that bold about it, just go for it. Every time you mention her eyes in the story, just keep doing it. Because then at least you could claim it's satirical, and people won't say racist. At this point, it had become clear to me that the girl I had known and loved was long gone, and all that remained was a soulless, wicked shell which clung to life and feared death more than anything. Jesus, dude. Don't leave this guy around. Don't leave this guy alone around the elderly, okay? Gosh, Grandma, it's clear to me that you're just a wicked shell that clings to life and fears death more than anything. Well, bye. Thanks for the cookies. But even so, I still loved her more than anything. She was my first and only girlfriend, and I couldn't let her go. I couldn't let anything happen to her. It's okay, she said. I won't do it anymore. I've accepted what I need to do, and I'm going to do it. No one else is going to die because of me. Stephanie, are you sure? Maybe we can still find a protective item for you if we look now. She looked down sadly. There's no use in running from it now. I just want to spend the night with you tonight, okay? One more night together, that's all I want. I was heartbroken. Everything was too melancholic and too melodramatic. I was so sad at hearing her words, at the thought of her being taken away. I threw up. I vomited and retched over and over again into a nearby garbage can, trying to fight back an endless stream of tears. Oscar the Grouch popped up. "What the hell are you doing?" he said as I barfed into his face. Now, that's surprisingly enough, I know you're going to be shocked, that's not actually in the story. That night she slept with me again. Sick, weak, and terrified, I passed out from pure exhaustion at 3 a.m. Less than an hour later, though, I awoke with a start. Dun, 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 dun. Stephanie was gone. I sat up and looked around in terror. Then I found a note. I read it. Oh, that's a good thing to do with a note. Smart. Jack's always thinking. Jack, I'm sorry for lying to you again, but I'm not ready to die yet. A chill went down my spine. I continued to read. I figured out what I need to do. Don't worry. As I promised, no one else is going to die because of me. What could she be thinking? I looked around my room. Suddenly, I noticed the .45 caliber pistol. It's not an edgy creepypasta written by a teenager unless there's a gun lying around that the protagonist can wield about all willy-nilly. Suddenly I noticed the .45 caliber pistol my father had bought for me for my 18th birthday. Oh, it was missing from my room, and everything made perfect sense. Okay, so she's running around wielding it. That's why she had wanted to spend the night with me tonight. She wanted my gun. Well, who doesn't want your gun, buddy? She was planning to go after Rottenbacker and take his protective item. How do you know that? I mean, you could reasonably guess that that's one of the options. But, you know. As fast as I could, I threw on some clothes and bolted for my truck. Now he's got a truck. I sped off toward Rottenbacker's apartment. Rottenbacker lives in an apartment even though he's in high school. When I got there... Oh, wait, maybe he lives with his family. When I got there, the lock had been shot off, and there were voices inside. I pushed the door open. "What's going on here?" I demanded. I looked around. Stephanie was holding Rottenbacker at gunpoint with my .45. She was holding it sideways, all cool-like a fucking gangster. The apartment walls were covered in pictures of Adolf Hitler and swastika banners. There were whips and chains scattered around the bedroom floor. Rottenbacker was stomping around in long-sleeved pajamas and cursing at her in his typical neo-Nazi form. Screaming at her about home invasion and calling the police and this and that. What a lunatic. What a lunatic he is, screaming about home invasion and calling the police when she's home invading him and he should call the police. He was even wearing that stupid Nazi armband. It was obvious this guy was a lunatic fanatic. Just now? Just now this is obvious to you? What the fuck? Stephanie screamed at him. "Shut the fuck up!" She fired a round at the wall behind him and winced. I remember my ears ringing from the loudness of the gunshot and a sharp pain in my inner ear, but I was too tense to worry about it at the moment. "Now give me that barbed torture thing you're always wearing, or I'll kill you right now." Well, thank you. I have to thank Stephanie for not saying the name of what it is, because I can't pronounce it. Her voice was all malice. Rottenbacker stood in place for a moment and slowly began to remove his pajama leggings.
"You're making a big mistake," he said. "You should just accept the way things are and die with dignity. You're not going to get away with this. You're not going to get to the chopper. It's not a tumor. Gruppenführer."
Okay. He removed the, He removed the silice from his leg, from which trickled a small amount of blood, and handed it... Okay, wait, this sentence, though. He removed the thing from his leg, which trickled a small amount of blood, and handed it to her. Okay. Immediately, she slipped it onto her own leg with one hand, fumbling with my pistol as she tightened it until it hurt, and her own leg began to bleed a little. "Let's go, Jack," she whispered and turned to leave. I started to walk out with her. From the apartment, I heard Rottenbachers shouting,
You won't get away with this. He's going to come for you. He's going to drag you off to hell for what you've done. You're going to pay for all those kids. And that dog named Scooby-Doo.
I could see that she was sobbing a little as we walked away. All this girl does is cry and kill people. I mean, usually I'm into that sort of thing, but I don't know, it's not doing anything for me here. I was sick. I was disgusted with everything. I was disgusted with Stephanie for being so cruel and selfish, and I was disgusted for myself for seeing all of this, and seeing the signs, and not doing anything to stop it. But at least now it would be over. As we walked back to my truck, I said a small prayer for Rottenbacher. Well, that's the least you can fucking do. In the hopes he would find a new protective item within 2 weeks. He may have been a racist bastard, but in a way, he was still better than Stephanie. If what he said about never cursing anyone else was true. And he didn't deserve to die just for that. Yeah, I mean, you don't deserve to die for being a racist. It's just funny to read the sentence, Rottenbacher may have been a racist, but he's still better than this bitch I'm in love with, I don't know. I drove Stephanie home. She was exhausted. I would have given her a kiss on the cheek, but I was too sick and just wanted the whole ordeal to be over. "Good night," I whispered to her. "Good night, Jack, I love you," she whispered back, and climbed out of my truck and went back to her house. I started to drive home, exhausted from the day's events. Suddenly, my cell phone began to vibrate. It was a call from Stephanie. I answered. "Hello?" The first thing I heard was a shriek, "Ah!" followed by what sounded like the noise of pounding at a door. Oh, wait. At a door. Okay. At her door. I was thinking of a different kind of pounding, sorry. "Jack, help! He's here! He's here! And he's coming for me!" No comment. "What? Hold on, Steph." I pulled a U-turn in my truck and sped off back towards her home. Whoa! And then I started choking. Holy shit. Holy shit! I'm becoming a little old man. I pulled a U-turn in my truck and sped off back towards her home. Stephanie was becoming more frantic. Woo! Suddenly, on the other end of the line, I heard the sound of her door being bashed in, kerflumple, followed by another shriek, "Aye!" I could hear Stephanie screaming at the top of her lungs, a hideous, blood-curdling scream. I still remember every moment of it perfectly, and I remember her screams word for word. No, no, I don't want to die. Adrenaline surged through my heart as I floored the accelerator. No, 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 stop. Yeah, he's got an excellent memory to remember those words. She screamed again, and I heard what sounded like the phone hitting the floor, ka-flump, and Stephanie's screams getting further and further away. And then, dead air. "Stephanie! Stephanie! Answer me, damn it!" Getting no response, I hung up and called the police. When I arrived at Stephanie's house, the front door had been smashed in. I parked my car on her lawn and jumped out, carrying my .45 caliber pistol with me. Okay, Rambo. I ran inside, searching the halls. Everything was in slow motion. I like to picture that literally. Like he searched the halls and everything around him was slow motion. He's like, "What the fuck?" Then I came to Stephanie's bedroom. I turned on the light and checked all of the corners with my pistol leading the way. At length, I lowered the gun as something caught my eye in the center of the room. Stephanie's cell phone lay on the floor next to the bed. In the middle of the room, in the carpet, was a very small patch of blood. It wasn't more than a few drops. But the most chilling sight of all was that from the edge of her bed to the door of her room, which led out into the hall, was a trail of claw marks that she had left as something or someone had dragged her away to her doom. I couldn't take it anymore. I turned and left her room. On the way out, I couldn't help but notice that she had torn out most of her fingernails clawing at the carpet, and that they lay scattered near the trails of her fingers had left. I just noticed this on the way out. But yeah, that's pretty much... I remember in the ring... when Samara is in the well, she's clawing at the walls of the well, trying to, I don't know, climb up or just frantically, and her fingernails break off. So, I mean... Seems like this is the ring on a cell phone. That's just my estimation. That's just a theory. A creepypasta theory. I went out into the street and threw up again. I could hear sirens coming in the distance. Days passed, then weeks, then months. The police did investigations. They questioned me time and again, and every time my stories were all the same. I told them the truth as I knew it, as unbelievable as it was. I don't think they believed me, but all of the evidence supported my story, and there was nothing to implicate me in any of the crimes. So at length, they finally let me go. At length, eh? You like that term, at length? You like using that? But yeah, there's no evidence implicating you except for the fact you were at the crime scene with a gun. And that you were with her when she was running around screaming. She actually was running from you, screaming and crying through school. I mean... rather a lot of evidence implicating you. Things gradually went back to normal. Our class eventually recovered from the losses of so many of our classmates, and over time my mind kind of accepted what had happened, until it all seemed like a distant dream. I graduated and moved on to college. But there was one thing that still bothered me through it all, and that was Rottenbacker. He had been exactly right, even though Stephanie had taken his chillacy. He never vanished in the way that she did, and the others did. Or, I'm sorry, that she and the others did. But there is one thing that I do know, and that is to this very day. If you ever see Rottenbacker, he's still always wearing that red Nazi swastika armband. That's the end of the story. So what we're to take away from this is that his protection item was actually the swastika armband, which... the problem with that is, how was it causing him pain? Because supposedly the thing was supposed to cause him pain. And the second problem with that is, if his protective item was the armband, why was he wearing the thing around his leg? So yeah, what I take away from the story is that somebody had a very thought out, planned out, plotted out, overarching story idea with a set of rules, you know, a set of guidelines about the cell phone game and how you could or couldn't get out of it. But I mean, the thing is, with creepypasta, you see a lot of like the edgelord kind of creepypasta stuff where it's like, I took out my 45 and I was ready for action, you know. And I feel like this falls into that category a bit. You know, none of the... You know, I don't know. It's sort of like... with creepypasta, you either need to define, like, a really cool spook. You know, it has to be spoopy. In that, you know, something really strange or insane or creative or weird or horrible, you know, happens. Or, you know, you sort of give us interesting characters and interesting scenarios to deal with. I feel like this sort of just was built entirely around the rules of the game. And I feel like it wasn't really, like, actually telling a coherent... well, I shouldn't say coherent. Telling, like, a... what do you want to... like, a narrative that took the reader on a journey, you know, from point A to point B, and gave you a lot of memories and experiences along the way. I think it basically, instead of that, I think it just was to get the idea of the game and its rules across to us. And I think that that was packaged, you know, the rest of the story was like the foam packaging around the game rules. But yeah, that's my idea. That's my idea of it. That's my takeaway from it. That's my thought on it. That was the cell phone game. And let's see if I can figure out who wrote this. Hopefully... Zip, 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 zip. This was added by Retardo the Magnificent. That's the actual username. I'm just reading it off the screen. Um, edited by Air Führer Vampschi. I mean, okay. But yeah, that's the cell phone game. Link is in the description if you want to read it. Presumably you might have been reading along with me, but you know. You know how it goes. The Retardo the Magnificent here may not be the original author. He may have just copy and pasted it here from somewhere else. That happens a lot on these, creepypasta wikis and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's the original author or not. It was in 2011 that he pasted it here, so I would assume that's the original author, but I don't know. Alright, that's this thing, whatever the fuck it was. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're still around, smash that like button in the face and bang that subscribe button in the ass and leave a comment with your dick. And if you don't have a dick, just why are you watching this? Because my channel is exclusively for dicks, apparently. I don't know. Bye.